Hey quiz, happy Pride Month! And honestly, what better way to celebrate Pride Month than looking at which Barbie movie's the worst while having a migraine? I'm just so dedicated to this. Got my priorities straight, not straight. Pride Month, we don't do straight. Okay, so first off, we're going to be ignoring things like the animation quality and in some cases like the sound and audio because honestly, like when it comes to it, the plot and the characters, they're more relevant than animation. And also because how is it fair deciding between like this and this? Like seriously? But also what we're taking into account is that I'm obviously not the target audience. I'm actually about 10 years off being their target audience. So like I guess take everything I say with a grain of salt because I'm sure my opinions and the opinions of a primary schooler on the worst Barbie movie will vary, hopefully. Also, apart from one of them, because it has like really pretty animation when it comes to like space and the stars, and also because when I originally planned this out, I was expecting it to be the worst off the bat, and then it would be an easy video and I'd only have to rewatch one Barbie movie. So apart from one exception, we're only basing this off like the classic Barbie movies, nothing after 2014 with one exception. First we're going to rule out a few, namely Princess Charm School, which is objectively now, the best Barbie movie alongside The Three Musketeers and Diamond Castle because they slap, there's no way they could be the worst. And just in general, any movie on my top 10 ranking Barbie movies literally couldn't be the worst because why would the top 10 be the worst? That does not make sense. So first off, I went for the one exception to the nothing after 2014 because classics only, the 2016 Barbie movie, Barbie Starlight Adventure. Because I expected it to be bad right off the bat, I was hoping I could get away with like only watching that movie and then I could just make my judgment from there. Not that I have any problem with rewatching the Barbie movies. Although I went into it like that, it actually wasn't so bad. Like, don't get me wrong, cringe culture is dead, but that movie definitely made me cringe. The characters and plot aren't as solid as the other Barbie movies. Like, it doesn't really feel like a lot happened in it. You'll watch it and it'll be like, whoa, was that movie really an hour? But in a bad way. I did say I'm not judging based off animation, but oh my god, just look at it. It's so pretty. Speaking of pretty, Sao Lee, she's so pretty. Like, look at her. Literally look at her. Look at her. Honestly, I think personally she was more of a love interest than like that irrelevant guy. I don't know the name of, and that really says a lot about how irrelevant he is. But he just seems to be kind of friends with Barbie. Obviously, it's the obligatory any man who is friendly to Barbie and somewhat relevant to the plot is supposed to be the designated love interest. But they just seem like friends. Like, not gonna lie, right? Sal and him are definitely lesbian bi solidarity. I make the rules here. It's Pride Month. You can't tell me I'm wrong. There were so many moments throughout the movie with Sal Lee and Barbie where I was just kind of like, and then they kiss. Because not gonna lie, gamers, it really did seem like that. Throughout like the whole film, I was just like, okay, so this is when they kiss. And they just never did. The audacity. And during Pride Month as well. But also it's strange because this is one of the like only Barbie movies where she's actually named Barbie. Even though at the end she gets called Princess Starlight or Starlight, whatever. I don't know what reason that is. But her name's Barbie. And although there are other Barbie movies where this happens, this is different because it doesn't fit in with the BCU, Barbie Cinematic Universe. Because in the BCU, Barbie is only named Barbie in a few of the films because in the canon, she's an actress, singer, etc., etc. And the films where Barbie is called a different name is because she's acting in them. For example, this can be seen through the titles such as Barbie in the Nutcracker, because it's Barbie the actress starring in the Nutcracker. But with this movie, where Barbie is a person living with her single father on another planet, it's not canon law in the Barbie Cinematic Universe in terms of Barbie herself. If this was in the Barbie Cinematic Universe, it's already her playing a character. And obviously, because of how it is, it doesn't fit in at all with any of the other movies where she's called Barbie, and it's her in real life. So I don't know what they thought when they did that. Also, I know we're not judging about animation. I've said this so many times already. And I know the old animation isn't the best, and it was most likely designed so that characters would look a lot like the dolls. You can see this as well with things such as the Barbie Diaries, which we get into later. So that when you get the doll, it's like, wow, this doll looks just like the character in the movie. But the way they animate Barbie and all the other characters is just, it feels so out of place because it's so different from every other Barbie movie. Like, if she wasn't named Barbie, I think you'd have trouble knowing it was a Barbie movie, and so that's probably why she's called Barbie, just because the animation's so different and it's just so strange. Also, they had a robot at the end who Danganronpa poses, so take that as you will. I choose to believe that that means Danganronpa exists in the Barbie cinematic universe, and no one can convince me otherwise. So Barbie Starlight Adventures, it's not the best, but it isn't the worst. Honestly, again, with the animation, but I think the graphics when it comes to like space save the movie. And also Sally, she's very pretty. Afterwards, I decided to pick the 5 movies that were rated the lowest on IMDb and go from there. And in order from best to worst, those movies are Barbie: A Fairy Secret at 5.8, Barbie: Princess and the Pop Star at 5.7, Barbie Presents Thumbelina also at 5.7, Barbie in the Pink Shoes at 5.6, and Barbie Perfect Christmas also at 5.6. And we're going to be ignoring Barbie Diaries, rated the lowest at a 5.5, purely because it looks nothing like the other Barbie movies in terms of design. They look a lot like how the dolls would, more so than the other Barbie movies, which is strange. Also, because Barbie's called Barbie in this, which some take as a sign that it's canon in the Barbie cinematic universe that this happened, but it just sort of feels out of place a little bit. But it also could have been canon. I mean, it's up for debate. But also because I refuse to put myself through the pain of watching it. The animation is painful, although I do like how they animated the hair. It's painful. Assume this is the worst Barbie movie and we can all go home. Video over. We don't need to watch the movie itself or any of the others. We just assign worst Barbie movie to the Barbie Diaries and the video ends here. But I refused to end the video so early, especially since I didn't actually watch the Barbie Diaries, so we're discounting it because I refused to watch that specific movie. Okay, so that was a lie. Hi, I'm back slightly later and I watched the Barbie Diaries because it's not really fair to miss out a Barbie movie just because the animation sucks and I'm prejudiced from literally everyone else hating this movie, and also because there are a bunch of Barbie movies I'm not rewatching because there's like 36 of them, so I might as well watch the Barbie Diaries. And honestly, it's watchable. Not gonna lie, while I've said so many times that I'm not counting animation, because Barbie Starlight Adventures would be the best one out of all these by that logic, I do like how they animate hair in this. Like, it's really satisfying for some reason. But the rest of the animation isn't that great. It's so obvious that they designed the pupils that it would look like more realistic when they made the dolls. However, some of the other Barbie movies, for example Magic of the Pegasus and Princess and the Pauper, were actually released earlier than the Barbie Diaries and have a slightly different animation style, as well as just being better generally. And I'm assuming the explanation for this would be that for some reason the production companies are different. Like with the Barbie Diaries, obviously it was produced by Mattel Entertainment because they own Barbie, but it was produced alongside Curious Pictures, which was a company that shut down in 2014, and I believe was the only Barbie movie that production company worked on, because all of the other Barbie movies, while they were also produced by Mattel, it was alongside Mainframe Entertainment, who in some cases are also known as Rainmaker Entertainment, and sometimes Rainmaker Mainframe Entertainment, for some reason I'm assuming change in leadership. And also Arc Productions being involved for a few years, mostly in the later movies. But for some reason, yeah, the Barbie Diaries is produced by a completely different studio. Anyways, back to the Barbie Diaries. First up, I thought Kevin and Barbie would be like besties and just stay that way. But no, apparently not, and they did at the end, so like, RIP, I guess. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm glad they ended up together, because Kevin's nice, and better for Barbie than Todd when it comes to this, and they've known each other for ages, but I'm so used to where Barbie movies don't really have a love interest, but do, where, you know what I mean, where with Barbie movies, it's like, okay, we're gonna introduce this guy who's like friendly to Barbie, and it's implied that they're the love interest, despite never explicitly stating that they're dating or the love interest. They just kind of vibe and sometimes flirt, so really they're just besties. So it did throw me off to have Barbie's male friend date her, and during Pride Month too. Joking, of course, I refuse to believe there are any cis-het Barbie characters. So I guess it was alright that they dated, because in every other Barbie movie there really isn't a love interest that's explicit. And no hate to Kevin because he's cool, but it did throw me off because I'm used to it just being Barbie's guy friend, not a love interest. And also, I was just like, finally, a guy who isn't supposed to be the forced love interest for Barbie, that actually just ends up being best friends with Barbie, but actually, finally, just a guy that is besties with Barbie and stays besties with Barbie. But no, they don't. And Kevin liked her the whole time. I mean, at least he was like, I value the friendship we have, and I don't want to accidentally wreck it, so I guess I'll never tell her. But I mean, like, wouldn't it be better to just tell her, and then it'd be awkward for a while, and then you can get over her? I don't know. But keep vibing, Kevin bestie. You got her in the end. I mean, not gonna lie, the notes in her locker were kind of sweet. Like, it was kind of cute, I guess. But the way she's so oblivious is so funny. Like, the note said maybe I'd see him in the library, but Kevin, the only person in the library is you? Like, maybe I woke in this version of Barbie because me too, bestie. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think it's the absolute worst. I didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. Sure, I had to put it on 2x speed, and still I kept clicking off it every 2 minutes because I couldn't pay attention to it for longer than that. But it has some alright messages, and the music isn't bad. Like, the music that there is, it's not bad. It's definitely very much normal for 2006, but it's not bad. It really isn't bad. Also, Barbie and Kevin are kind of cute, not gonna lie. Their friendship relationship is like the best part of the movie. Like, Kevin is so sweet and just, maybe it's okay if they date because like it's cute. It's cute. Not gonna lie, it's kind of cute. Like, the movie sucks, and the only reason I'd ever recommend watching it would be if you want to watch it for Barbie and Kevin, because like maybe I do support girl boss Barbie getting a boyfriend after all. So first is Barbie: A Fairy Secret. I actually talked about this one already when I ranked my top 10 Barbie movies, so I'll keep this brief. Himbo Zane is the best part of this movie. Like, he's so funny. Barbie and Raquel's fairy forms definitely said bi and gay rights with those wings. Also, Princess Graciella's wings being basically literally the lesbian flag. Wonderful. We're going to ignore that this movie was made before the lesbian flag was created, so it's canon now. Princess Graciella is a lesbian, and she platonically married Himbo Zane. This is legally not allowed to be the worst Barbie movie. Nothing to do with the fact that it's actually a decent movie, but because the fairy wings are pride flags and it's Pride Month, I'm legally not allowed to put it as the worst movie. Also, since it was number 9 on my list of top 10 Barbie movies, I don't think it makes sense then to say it's the worst Barbie movie of all time. Speaking of that list, that means we're also ruling out what is coincidentally the next one in that list, which is Barbie Princess and the Popstar, which was number 6 on my top 10 Barbie movies, which is great because it means less Barbie movies that I have to rewatch. I mean, again, no complaints, because Barbie movies slap, but also I cannot pay attention for that long to so many Barbie movies. Please help me, there's like 30 of them. Princess and the Popstar is pretty good, and I believe it's also in the same universe as Princess Charm School, and you can see this through one of the headlines on a magazine in the movie when it's titled What the Coming Year Has to Hold for Dame Devon. Also, while I guess it's probably just the studio wanting to reuse characters, Josette can be seen in the audience, which also would make sense in canon. I mean, you can see her twice, which is a blooper, but she's definitely there. And next is Barbie Presents Thumbelina. Not gonna lie, besties, I'm convinced that the Barbie movies were only made to radicalize the youth and turn them gay. I mean, in Princess Charm School, we had Blair's parents literally getting Princess Diana'd, and how rich people have the mindset of poor people can just go move elsewhere, lol, and also all the classism present there. We had so much gay subtext in every single movie, and everyone was so pretty, and for literally what? Name me one cishet who has watched the Barbie movies and is genuinely interested in them. Go on, don't be shy. And also Thumbelina with its humans bad and rich people disregard the consequences of destroying the environment for their own personal gain. And also in terms of their whole, there's no use trying to convince them that what they're doing is wrong and trying to get them on our side. We can't make a difference. We might as well just cut our losses now. Like, interesting. Like, go off, Barbie. Anyway, like, this movie isn't bad. It's pretty interesting in terms of social commentary. I'm glad things worked out for, like, Thumbelina and their friends. I wouldn't say so far that it's the worst Barbie movie. It's actually pretty good. Like, it's definitely not the best. R.I.P. Barbie Presents Thumbelina. You would have loved to be on the top 10 Barbie movies list. Why wasn't it on? Why did I put Fashion Fairy Tale before Thumbelina? And next up, Barbie in the Pink Shoes. What I think is interesting in this one is how it's Barbie, or Kristen, who's like really caught up in the world and very much kind of, yeah, I know I could die, but it's fun and all, and she keeps running off, and it's her friend Haley who is the one to go, stop that, and is the one being reasonable, which is interesting because I think usually it's usually Barbie who's the reasonable one, and it's like, let's think this through logically, guys. But it's her friend who keeps going, hey, all of these stories end badly. just please, please take off the shoes. And it's Kristen who's like, no, 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 this is fun. Also, these guys are hot. I'm not taking off these shoes. Rolf Ball's quite funny though. Like, he's a likable villain. Quite endearing, I think. While this movie features like a lot of Swan Lake in it, there's also Barbie of Swan Lake, which is a separate movie. It kind of slaps. But hey, not gonna lie, the whole mixed stories thing they did with Pink Shoes was really interesting. And who cares if they both feature Swan Lake, because they both slap. Also, RIP to Haley, who literally just wanted to go home and kept pleading with Kristen to take off the shoes so they could both go home. And Kristen just kept getting involved and ignoring her. And then Haley gets frozen. Like, I mean, I get everything kind of got fixed in the end. And if Kristen hadn't got frozen, then everyone wouldn't have been freed or whatever. But like, Haley's supremacy, she didn't deserve that. And also, the way Tara and Kristen are like friends at the end, yes, wonderful. We love that. And finally, Barbie: A Perfect Christmas. I'll admit, the intro song, it was a bit jarring, mostly because it kind of came out of nowhere. I'm not used to Barbie movies being like musicals, because there are songs featured several times, but with the intro song, they all just sort of stood in a line looking towards an imaginary audience. Like, obviously it was where the camera was, but they weren't looking directly at the camera. And you could argue, oh, well, Barbie Cinematic Universe, so it's just them acting. No, because Barbie is called Barbie in this. This is canonically Barbie, so this isn't a movie in the Barbie Cinematic Universe. This is real life in the Barbie Cinematic Universe. So no excuses there. Although all of the songs present in the movie are somewhat jarring, the autotune really throws you off and it doesn't seem to fit. They're really awkward and just not that great anyways, but it's just they're designed to be diegetic in the movie, but the auto-tune doesn't quite fit with that, because obviously you can excuse the instruments and whatever, but it throws you off when something that's designed to be diegetic sound is just auto-tuned and clearly very produced, and it's unnatural. So within the first 10 minutes of watching this movie, even on double speed, I was ready to just stop watching and either call this the worst Barbie movie or completely disregard it, ignore it, and call the Barbie Diaries the worst. Watching this movie absolutely drained me of energy. If we gotta look for positives in this movie, Skipper is the best character. Like, she's so cool. Like, she's a singer-songwriter, she has her blog, website, whatever, and also a podcast, and like, her hair is pretty cool too, I guess. I believe in Skipper supremacy, and like how her character is, I want to do everything myself and be independent, because my older sister, who I look up to, can do so much all by herself, and if she can do it, so can I, which is sort of a detriment to her. Like, I think Skipper is the only well-developed character in that movie, I will be honest. I'm glad Skipper got to do her whole performance in the end though, because honestly, she deserves it for being the best person in this movie, which isn't hard because everyone is annoying, although Barbie's kind of nice, but hey, Skipper supremacy when it comes to this movie. Also, big up the band Skipper performs with. From the, 2 lines one of their band members had throughout the entire movie, they seem kind of cool. RIP the band, you would have loved to not be in complete darkness the entire time during a performance that was supposed to be to showcase your band. Okay, so I know in the end, it's not really fair to judge the worst Barbie movie without watching every single one. But after having to watch some of those, I'm in physical pain. Here's a list of the ones I didn't rewatch for this, so let me know if they're worse than the ones rated on IMDb. And I know that list looks like a lot, but please, there's so many of them, and I've literally watched a majority. And anyways, the moment you've all been waiting for, the worst movie definitely has to be A Perfect Christmas. For some reason, it was hard to decide between that and the Barbie Diaries. Not gonna lie, Kevin and Barbie honestly saved that movie. Also, a lot of the characters in A Perfect Christmas are irritating, and it feels like not a lot happened throughout that movie. Like, on one hand, watching it is like, oh wow, that was really only an hour, it felt like 20 minutes, but in a bad way because nothing happens at all. But on the other hand, it's like, oh my god, that was the longest hour of my life, and it really was. Fun fact, the entire time I was writing this script, I was listening to a Spotify playlist containing only Pitbull songs and Sweatshirt by Jacob Sartorius. I promise it's ironic, but also surprisingly helpful when it comes to focusing. Embarrassing for me, to be honest. But yes, Perfect Christmas is the worst Barbie movie. This is now a fact, and if you argue with me, I will materialize inside your house. And thank you for watching. It's Pride Month, so you are legally required to check out my socials in the description. And I hope you all have a great day, night, whatever time of day it is for you. Remember to drink water and take your meds. Bye.